Welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be exploring something really fascinating.
What's that?
How the faculty at the York School is like really diving headfirst into AI in education.
Oh, wow.
And it's not just some like futuristic sci-fi stuff, it's actually happening right now.
Really?
Yeah. They recently held this workshop called Co-Intelligence in Action, blending AI coaching with collaborative reflection. It was for middle and senior school faculty.
Oh, cool.
And get this, AI is like advancing so crazy fast that it could soon be designing and improving itself.
Whoa.
Yeah. So in this deep dive, we're going to give you a clear picture of, all these developments and what they mean for like the future of learning.
That sounds pretty important.
Yeah, definitely. And what's really cool? The York School isn't just, sitting back and watching all this happen. They're actually jumping in and figuring out how to use AI to like make education even better.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And this whole idea of co-intelligence is like becoming a big deal. And the York School is definitely leading the way and putting it into practice.
Okay, so can we maybe unpack this co-intelligence thing a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
What does it actually mean for a school like the York School?
Well, I think the key is that AI isn't here to replace teachers. It's here to empower them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like the York School is using AI to personalize learning, help teachers like analyze their teaching, and even get AI-powered coaching.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. They're really good at blending these, innovative tools with good old-fashioned collaboration and reflection to create a really dynamic learning environment.
That makes sense. But before we get too deep into the York School's specific approach, maybe we should talk about the bigger picture for a sec.
Yeah, good point.
The slides for this workshop, they mentioned that AI is evolving at an incredible pace. They even used this fun example of an otter.
Oh, yeah. The otter?
They showed how AI-generated images of an otter on a plane using Wi-Fi have, progressed over time.
Right. Like just 2 years ago, the pictures were pretty basic.
Right, but now,
Now the AI is generating images of an otter just casually browsing the internet on its phone, just like, any other business traveler.
yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing how quickly this technology is learning and adapting.
Right. And it's not just, cute otter pictures.
Yeah, no.
There's this graph in the slides that shows the projected growth of something called GPT systems.
Okay, GPT systems.
Yeah, these systems are basically the brains behind a lot of the AI we're seeing today.
Okay, that makes sense. But for our listeners who might not be super familiar with all this, could you maybe quickly explain what GPT systems actually are and why their growth is so important for education?
Yeah, definitely. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer.
Okay.
And basically, it's a type of AI model that's been trained on like massive amounts of text data, which lets it do some pretty cool things like generate human-like text, translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, and even answer your questions in a pretty informative way.
Okay, that makes sense. So these GPT things, are they getting smarter?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're getting more powerful at an exponential rate.
Whoa.
Yeah, and the graph in the slides actually compares their capabilities to different stages of human learning.
Hmm.
And it suggests that by like 2028, AI could reach the level of, get this, an automated AI research engineer.
Whoa. What does that even mean?
It means AI could be designing and improving itself.
Wow, AI, designing AI. Okay.
Right.
So I have to ask, what does all this mean for education?
Right. It's a big question.
But how do we even prepare students for a world where AI is this advanced?
Exactly. That's something that the York School is really tackling head on with this workshop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're focusing on 3 key areas: personalized learning, the need for new skills and curriculum, and how AI can actually support teachers.
AI tutors? Is that what you're talking about? Like AI
Yeah.
tutors that can tailor lessons to each student's individual needs.
Exactly. It sounds pretty amazing, right? But it also makes you wonder, is it really realistic to do that at scale? Like, what are some of the potential hurdles?
Right. Yeah. Good points.
Well, personalized learning is definitely one of the most promising areas of AI in education.
Okay.
Like, the idea is that AI can analyze all this student data and then adapt the content, pacing, and even teaching styles to create, a truly individualized learning experience for each student.
Wow. That would be incredible.
Yeah. But of course, there's some challenges.
Right. Like what?
Well, for one, we need to be super careful about data privacy,
Yeah, that's a big one.
and we need to make sure that all students have equal access to this technology.
Right. Equity is so important.
It is. And then there's the whole human element.
Yeah. What do you mean?
We need to make sure that human connection stays the heart of education, even with all this amazing technology. It seems like the York School is really aware of these potential pitfalls, though.
Okay, good. What about the curriculum?
Oh, yeah, that's another big one.
Yeah, what kinds of skills do students need to learn to actually thrive in this, like, AI-powered world?
Right. It's not just about learning to code anymore.
No, definitely not.
Like, we need to teach students how to think critically, solve problems in creative ways, collaborate effectively, and adapt to, a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah, all those soft skills.
Exactly. And then there's AI literacy, which is basically understanding how AI works, its limitations, and like the ethical implications of it.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about using AI, it's about understanding it too.
Right, exactly. And then the third area, the teacher support, that's where things get really exciting, I think.
Oh, how so?
Well, imagine having AI tools. They can do things like automate all those tedious administrative tasks, provide personalized feedback to students, analyze teaching practices, and even help with lesson planning.
Okay, so this AI is like a teacher's little helper.
Yeah, exactly. It's about freeing up teachers' time so they can focus on the things that they do best.
Yeah, like what?
Things like building relationships with students, mentoring them, and really fostering that love of learning.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm starting to see how this co-intelligence thing could really be a game changer.
Me too. It sounds like the York School is taking a really thoughtful approach to, actually integrating AI into their teaching practices.
Yeah, it does. Can you tell me a bit more about like the specifics of the workshop? What did they actually do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the title of the workshop, Co-Intelligence in Action, blending AI coaching with collaborative reflection, really captures their approach.
Yeah, it does.
It shows that they're not just talking about AI in theory, they're actually giving their faculty hands-on experience with it.
Oh, wow. So they were actually using AI coaching in the workshop.
Yes, and they were combining it with, collaborative reflection, which I think is super important for making sure that teachers feel empowered, supported, and like they're part of the process.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
whole workshop was designed to create this space where teachers could, really experience the potential of co-intelligence firsthand.
So how does this co-intelligence approach actually work in practice? Like, what were the teachers doing in the workshop?
Well, think of it as a cycle.
Okay.
Teachers started by engaging with personalized AI coaching. Then they worked together to, kind of enhance the coaching process itself. Then they took what they learned and integrated those insights into their teaching practices. And finally, they engaged in collaborative reflection, sharing their experiences and learning from each other.
It sounds kind of like a continuous loop of learning and improvement?
Exactly. Both for the individual teacher and for the school as a whole.
Yeah, that's cool. And did the York School have like specific goals for this workshop?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They had some very specific learning goals in mind. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted their faculty to leave the workshop feeling confident in their ability to use personalized AI coaching, engage in collaborative reflection, enhance their teaching practices, and like really experience co-intelligence in action.
So it sounds like they're really setting their teachers up for success in this new AI-powered world.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm curious, how does this all connect back to the crazy fast advancement of AI that we were talking about earlier? Like, how does it all fit together?
It's a great question. And this is where things get really interesting. One of the slides from the workshop had this thought-provoking quote from Sam Altman.
Okay.
He said, "Figuring out what questions to ask will be more important than figuring out the answer."
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think that quote really speaks to the importance of, inquiry-based learning, especially in an age where AI can just give us answers in a split second.
Right. So it's not just about finding the right answer.
Not at all. It's about, fostering the right questions, nurturing curiosity, and embracing that whole process of inquiry itself.
Okay, I see what you mean. And in that sense, AI can actually be a really powerful partner, not as a replacement for teachers, but as a tool to enhance and support their efforts.
Exactly.
One of the mindsets they presented that really resonates with me is being courageously curious.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that applies not just to teachers, but to all of us trying to navigate this new world.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm curious, what does courageously curious actually look like in action for a teacher using AI?
That's a great question. I think it means being willing to, experiment with new tools and approaches, even if they feel unfamiliar or a bit daunting at first.
Mm.
It's about asking those what-if questions and being open to new possibilities. It's about embracing the idea that learning is a lifelong journey and that AI can be a valuable companion along the way.
I love that. So it's not just about teaching students to be courageously curious. It's about teachers actually modeling that mindset themselves.
Exactly. But then how does this actually translate to the classroom? Like, what does this AI-enhanced learning experience look like for students?
Well, that's what we'll explore next. So imagine a classroom where like AI tutors are providing this like individualized support,
Okay, yeah.
adapting to each student's, pace and learning style and all that.
Okay.
And that frees up the teachers to focus on like the deeper discussions and, mentoring students and fostering that love of learning.
That sounds amazing. It's like having, a personalized learning coach for every student. But I'm also wondering, like, what about the challenges?
Oh, yeah, of course.
How do we make sure that every student has equal access to all these AI tools and resources? And what about, like, data privacy concerns?
Those are definitely super important considerations. And like the York School, they're very mindful of those things.
Right.
Like equitable access, that's crucial. And it goes beyond just giving everyone like devices.
Right.
It's about making sure all students have, the skills to actually use these tools effectively.
Okay, the digital literacy.
Yeah, exactly. And also making sure that the technology itself is designed to be inclusive and accessible to everyone.
That makes sense. So it's not just about the technology. It's about, like, the human element, too.
Yes, absolutely.
What about data privacy? Like, how do we protect student data while still, using AI effectively?
Well, I think transparency and clear guidelines are essential,
Okay, yeah.
Schools need to have really strong data privacy policies in place and be very open with parents and students about how they're using the data.
Okay.
And I think it's important to involve students in those conversations as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, help them understand like their digital rights and responsibilities.
Right. That's a great point. It's about, empowering students to be active participants in their own digital lives.
Exactly.
But let's shift gears for a second and talk about the teachers. I imagine it takes a lot of, training and support to help teachers feel comfortable and confident using these new AI tools.
Oh, for sure. And the York School is actually addressing this through like professional development opportunities,
Okay.
like this workshop we're talking about. It's about giving teachers the time and space to explore these tools, experiment with them, and like learn from each other.
Yeah.
It's also important to address any concerns or anxieties they might have, which is why the collaborative reflection piece is so key.
Right. So it's about creating a culture of trust and collaboration where teachers feel like supported and encouraged to try new things.
Exactly.
But it's not just about learning to use the tools, right? It's also about developing a critical mindset.
Oh, for sure. Both for teachers and students.
Yeah, like we need to be able to look at the information provided by AI and think critically about it.
Right.
Figure out what's true, what's not true, and like make informed decisions about how to use these tools effectively and ethically.
Yeah, we need that healthy skepticism, recognizing that AI is a tool, not like a magic solution.
Totally. It's about using AI to like enhance our human capabilities, not replace them.
Right.
But I'm curious, how does the York School actually put this co-intelligence approach into practice? Like, what does it look like in the real world?
Well, one really interesting example is how they're using AI to analyze report card comments.
Wait, they're using AI to analyze report card comments?
Yeah, they took a massive data set of over 4,500 report card comments.
Wow, that's a lot of comments.
It is, and they fed it into an AI system and got some like fascinating feedback.
So they're not like replacing the teacher's input,
No, not at all.
but using the AI to provide insights into their practices.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, like the AI helped them see patterns in the feedback, highlighter areas where comments could be, more specific or actionable.
Well, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
So it's like having an AI coach to help teachers write more effective report card comments.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets even cooler. The AI actually generated sample report card comments, like showing best practices.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's about using AI to support teachers in, communicating better with students.
Yeah, and giving more meaningful feedback.
Exactly.
That's a really cool and practical application of AI in education.
Yeah, and it's just one example of how the York School is like weaving co-intelligence into their whole approach to teaching and learning.
Okay, so what else are they doing?
Well, they've also developed a bunch of personalized planning and pedagogical coaches, all powered by AI.
Okay, hold on. You're going to have to tell me more about these AI coaches. Like, what do they actually do?
So for MYP, they've got a NeuroTeach coach that helps teachers apply brain-based learning principles.
Okay.
an ATL assessment designer to help create assessments that measure approaches to learning skills, and a personal project coach that guides students through the MYP personal project.
Right.
They also have subject-specific coaches for, different subjects,
Okay.
and access to all the IB guides in PDF format.
Okay, so what about for DP?
Oh, it's an equally impressive lineup. They have AI coaches for TOK, language and literature, film, CAS, music, exercise science, language ab initio, theater drama,
Okay.
chemistry, language B, with options for French, Spanish, and Mandarin, biology, physics, environmental systems and societies, history,
Wow, that's a lot of coaches.
and of course, a NeuroTeach expert, plus access to all the IB guides in PDF format, naturally.
Wow. That's incredible. They're really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to this whole co-intelligence thing.
They really are. And it's not just about the tools themselves, it's about the mindset they're fostering. Remember those mindsets of the AI-enabled educator we talked about?
Oh, yeah. Rigorously reflective,
Yeah.
courageously curious, creatively collaborative, and constructively critical.
Yeah, it seems like the York School is actively trying to foster those mindsets in their teachers.
Yeah. And the workshop itself was structured to encourage these mindsets, right?
Yeah, for sure. It alternated between those personalized AI coaching sessions where teachers could, explore the tools and ask questions,
Okay.
and then these relational sharing groups where they could reflect on their experiences and learn from each other.
So it's not just about, individual learning. It's about collective growth.
Exactly.
But how does the York School ensure that teachers are actually applying what they're learning in these workshops,
Mm-hmm.
like taking it back to their classrooms?
That's where those closing reflections and commitments to action come in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, at the end of the workshop, teachers had to, think about their key takeaways
Okay.
and identify specific actions they could take to integrate co-intelligence into their own practice.
That's a really good way to make sure the learning sticks.
Yeah, and the York School actually provided a lot of really practical tips.
Oh, like what?
Like how to get the most out of those AI coaching sessions. For example, they emphasized starting with a very clear focus when asking questions,
Okay.
using open-ended questions to encourage exploration, and providing context and specific details to get more relevant advice from the AI.
Okay, so it's about being very intentional and thoughtful in how you interact with the AI tools.
Exactly. And it's also about being willing to iterate on the responses,
Oh,
refining the AI's suggestions through follow-up questions.
Okay, so it's like a dialogue.
Yeah, it's a collaborative process,
Yeah.
shaping the AI's output to meet the needs of the classroom.
So it's not about just blindly accepting what the AI tells you. It's about engaging in a critical and creative conversation with it.
Precisely. And that's where the human element is so important. AI can provide incredible insights and support,
Yeah.
but it's our human judgment and creativity and empathy that's really going to guide us,
Towards a better future for education.
Exactly.
This has been a really eye-opening conversation.
I'm glad.
I'm really starting to see how this co-intelligence thing can be, a really powerful force for good in education.
It really can be. And the York School is a fantastic example of what's possible when we, approach this new era with an open mind,
Yeah.
a willingness to experiment, and a commitment to putting our students first.
So where do we go from here? What does all this mean for the future of learning? It really feels like we're right on the edge of some major shift in education.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know?
The rapid advancement of AI is already changing, the way we learn and teach.
Right.
And it's just going to keep accelerating from here, it's not slowing down.
So what does that mean for everyone? For teachers, students,
Yeah.
all of us who are part of this whole learning world? What does the future of learning even look like in this, AI-powered world?
I think the York School is a pretty good example. They give us a really good glimpse into that future.
Yep.
They're showing that it's not about AI versus humans.
Right.
It's about AI with humans, you
Yeah.
know? Using technology to, make us better,
Yeah.
amplify our creativity, and just create better learning experiences for everyone.
I love that. AI with humans.
Yeah.
It's not about replacing teachers. It's about giving them superpowers.
Exactly. Imagine teachers who have access to real-time data on how their students are doing.
Right.
AI assistants that can help with personalized feedback and lesson planning.
Okay.
And a global network of, other teachers to collaborate with.
Yeah.
It's about freeing up teachers' time so they can really focus on what matters most.
Right, inspiring those students.
Yeah.
That's the dream, right? But it's not just about the tech, it's also about the mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the York School's focus on being rigorously reflective,
Hmm.
courageously curious, creatively collaborative, and constructively critical really stuck with me.
Yeah, those are so important for navigating this new world we're in.
We need to be, reflective about the ethics of AI, curious about its potential,
Right.
collaborative in how we solve problems,
Mhm.
and critical in how we, like, evaluate the information it gives us.
It's like that quote from Sam Altman.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Figuring out what questions to ask will be more important than figuring out the answer.
Oh, that's a good one. Right.
Like in a world where AI can give us answers so fast, our ability to ask the right questions, to think critically, that's what really matters.
Exactly. And those are the skills that the York School is, working to develop in their students.
Yeah.
They're preparing them not just for jobs, but like for a world that's constantly changing.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into, co-intelligence at the York School, what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from all this?
I'd say the future of learning isn't something that's like happening to us. It's something we're all creating together. And we have a choice.
Yeah.
We can either, sit back and watch,
Right.
or we can be a part of shaping it.
Right.
And the York School is choosing to be active.
Yeah.
They're showing us all what's possible when we embrace innovation and collaboration
Yeah.
and put humans at the center of, how we use AI in education.
That's a really powerful message. It reminds us that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of learning. So, to our listener, I ask you, what role do you want to play? What questions does this deep dive spark for you?
Don't be afraid to ask those questions, explore those possibilities, and really embrace the, transformative potential of this whole co-intelligence thing.
That's a great point. The future's in our hands. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.